Hey guys! Well, it's finally time. People have been asking for a very long time to do a pre-class change and class change 1 guide to Archer, and here we are starting with the pre-class change Wayfarer. So I'm pleased to say we will be doing a full class guide today, going over all the skills, the best talents, the best Melomon, and so on and so forth. So many thanks to my wife Natasha, who obviously plays Archer. I play Assassin. She's put together most of the information that I needed because I don't really play this class as my main. I've only understood little tidbits, but now I understand how this class works, and now I also understand why she was oftentimes doing more damage than me. Because let me tell you, when I started to see these skills and understand how they click together, I quickly realized this class is no joke. So without further ado, let's jump in and start looking at the skills of Wayfarer and understanding just why it's so good. So, the first thing I notice is there are some similarities to how the Shadow Lash works, the pre-class change of Assassin, in that the core skill here, in this case Gust Arrow, converts basic attack damage to nature damage and restores 28 energy per nature damage dealt. There's a similar mechanic on Shadow Lash, so I found that quite interesting. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm getting distracted. Now, let's explain how this build works. This is the best in slot skills right here for pre-class change Archer. And let's go through them all to understand why that is. So starting off, we have our core skill, Gust Arrow. Gust Arrow deals nature damage equal to 760% attack plus that, and then for the next 10 seconds converts basic attack damage to nature damage and restores 28 energy per nature damage dealt. This means that once you use the core skill, all of your basic attacks are gonna rapidly regenerate energy and allow you to use your core skill more quickly. So let's quickly look at this in combat so you understand how this works. Boom. Look, as the basic attacks go, look how fast it's charging. Look how fast, look how fast, look how fast. So, from constantly spamming basic attacks, which generate energy by dealing nature damage, you are supercharging your core skill to be used very, very rapidly. So that's how that works. Very powerful mechanic that allows you to very rapidly spam core attacks. Now, okay, so the promotions here increase the nature damage taken, increase energy gain, so just enhancements towards the skill. So anyway, this is your core skill, and now that we know how this works, we are now going to go through the tactical skills and then the passive skills to understand how they all interact with Gust Arrow. So the first best in slot tactical skill, and quite an important one, is Arrow Rain. Now Arrow Rain is an AoE skill, and let's read the description together. So Arrow Rain summons itself 3 times, each dealing nature damage equal to 273% attack to enemies in the target area. Casting Gust Arrow, which is the core skill, afterward can summon Arrow Rain again for 6 seconds. Now that's very good. Now we do understand that the more nature damage you deal, the more energy you generate. That means every single source you have of nature damage in the build is going to make you use your Gust Arrow faster. So this is an AoE skill that deals tons of nature damage, which means tons of core attacks are going to go out. Plus you have the added synergy that Gust Arrow is going to trigger yet another Arrow Rain after the skill is done. So that's a very nice synergy there. And again, these are all just enhancements for the skill. So this is a pretty obvious use case here where you have core attack, benefits from nature damage, and triggers off an additional Arrow Rain after you use a skill. Very good synergy. Pretty easy to understand why this is the best in slot skill. So moving on, we have Extra Quiver. Extra Quiver, upon casting the next 7 core skills, will fire 5 extra arrows, each dealing 75% attack as nature damage. Plus, it increases skill damage by 11% for the duration. Now, when it specifies skill damage, this is anything that's not a basic attack. So, for example, a core skill, tactical skill, passive skill. So those are considered skill damage. It basically means it increases damage of everything that is not your basic attack. And additionally, by giving 5 extra arrows per core skill, up to 7 of them, that's an additional like 475% attack per core skill use, up to 7 core skills. That's a lot of extra damage, so very nice attack. And again, this is going to give you way more nature damage hits, which in turn is going to recharge the core skill even faster. So very nice synergy, very nice damage output, and we understand why this is so good. So this is another best in slot skill because of the ability to synergize so well with the core skill Gust Arrow. So moving on to the third and final tactical skill, we have Flow State. Flow State, upon casting, increase your attack speed by 65% for 7 seconds and increase all damage by 11.7% for the duration. Now, I think I don't really have to say very much about why this is best in slot. We have a build here where the more attacks that go out that deal nature damage generate energy, which allow you to use your core skill faster and faster. And then here we have a tactical skill that vastly increases your attack speed plus increases all your damage for the duration for 7 seconds. That is massive. And while this flow state is active, you're like a literal machine gun. You're just like shooting out so many basic attacks that your core skill, this is why when you look, let's watch for battle, when the next battle, when the tactical skills are on. I'm actually going to turn them off right now so they're ready for the next battle. And just watch when this goes off, how quickly this core skill is going to trigger. Look at this, look at this. It's actually hilarious. Well, the battle ended too quickly, but I think the effect is still active when we get to the next fight. Let's see if we can see it. No, yeah, I mean, anyway, you get the idea. Like, it just absolutely goes nuts when you have this extra attack speed. All your basic attacks, your skill animations are faster. Very powerful tactical skill. Great synergy with the rest of the build. So far, I think we have a pretty clear understanding. We have great synergy. You have all 3 skills enhancing the ability to deal massive amounts of not only damage, but individual hits of nature damage, which all acts to charge the core skill up. Now we move on to the passive skills, which actually are quite interesting because a lot of the damage in this build doesn't come from the core skill or the tactical skills. It comes from these passive skills. In fact, these 2 here deal a large bulk of your damage, surprisingly. So let's start off with the first tactical skill, that is Splitting Arrow. Now, Splitting Arrow makes your Gust Arrow split into arrows that attack surrounding enemies upon dealing damage, each dealing 65% of the skill's nature damage, plus it increases nature damage by 24%. Very nice to have that increased nature damage because that basically increases the damage of everything in our build. So Gust Arrow splitting up. So basically, just to explain again, so Gust Arrow is a single target skill. And now that we have Splitting Arrow on, we've just converted the single target skill Gust Arrow into a AoE attack, which is very nice. That's why when you're attacking an AoE situation, it deals a hell of a lot of damage. And let's see if I can show, well, that wasn't a good example because the fight ended very quickly. Let's see if I can get this. Is that enough battle? Let's see. So you can see here, Splitting Arrow. It's like basically top 2 damage dealing skills right now because we're in an AoE situation. So anyway, this is a very important skill. It converts your core skill into an AoE dealing skill. Very powerful, very good skill. Next up, you have Arrow Dance. Now, Arrow Dance, each time a skill deals nature damage to the current target, i.e. every single bloody attack the character makes, gain the Arrow Dance effect, increasing skill damage by 1.5% up to 12 stacks. At max stats, Arrow Dance is consumed to deal nature damage equal to 800% attack to the target and surrounding enemies. Now, we've just established in all the previous skills that we're basically making a machine gun, rapid fire, crazy archer shooting out so many arrows. This is reaching max stats probably several times a second in your peak attack speed. So this is just churning out massive amounts of AoE damage at a rapid pace, plus increasing skill damage along the way. Very good skill. One of the most important skills of the build. Can't go wrong with this. Arrow Dance is essential. So that's another very good skill. and I think we understand why this synergizes well with the rest of the build as we've explained it. Now, moving on. Next up, we have Leaf Storm. For every 14 hits of damage dealt to the current target, now notice this says damage dealt, this means any source of damage. Deal 3 hits of 125% nature damage to enemies in the target area and increase the skill damage they take by 11.1% for 5 seconds. Again, this 14 hits of damage is going to be going out so often that you could basically consider this skill damage debuff on the enemy active almost 100% of the time. So this is essentially a very nice boost. You get these 3 additional hits of nature damage, plus you have this skill damage debuff on the enemies to increase the damage they take. A very nice skill that synergizes well with the rest of the build. So Leaf Storm is another best in slot skill. Very good skill. Next up, the 4th passive skill, we have Swift Arrows. When casting your core skill, there is a 70% chance to trigger Swift Arrows, dealing nature damage equal to 800% attack to the target. This is a very nice bonus skill, especially when you're able to get it at a high percentage here from leveling up. This basically gives you a slightly RNG, but not too bad RNG, extra attack whenever using the core skill, which is nice. And this is basically just more damage output, more nature damage. And if you can get this to proc multiple times when you're spamming your core attack, this can be a lot of additional target. Now, it is a single target skill, so this is going to be very powerful in bosses, for example, especially, you know, longer bosses where you're going to have loads of chances to get these procs. This is going to add up in a huge way in Dragon and in other modes. So very nice skill. Slightly RNG, but not so bad as some other class skills. And an overall big increase to single target damage, especially when you can get lots of procs in a row. Now the final passive skill is Energized Arrow. So Energized Arrow, every 5 hits of skill damage dealt, and again skill damage is any skill, everything but not basic attacks, increase core skill damage by 7.6% for 8 seconds up to 5 stacks. So again, we're dealing damage so often that this is pretty much going to be on max stacks all the time. So you basically have 35, just call this around 38% additional core skill damage at all times. The core skill, which is going out like crazy, rapidly going spin, 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 core, 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 core. This is going to supercharge the core skill damage even more than we already have. Again, I think we pretty much understand why this is part of the best in slot for this build. So that's pretty much a total understanding of all the skills for this build. This is the best in slot for Wayfarer, and I think it's pretty nasty. I think we all understand the potential of this build. It is like an absolute shredding class, and I'll be honest, when Natasha and I were playing in the early game, there were a lot of times she was doing more DPS than me, and I'm supposed to be like the quote-unquote best DPS character in the game. Hey everyone, oh yeah, Assassin's the best DPS in the game, trust me bro. And then here you have this Wayfarer coming in and just blasting away like crazy and dealing even more damage than an Assassin. So that's the thing about this game, guys. You have to understand, you have to look at what people tell you and say, oh yeah, this is the best class, this is the best, this is the most. It's honestly, there's no bad classes in this game. Every class has these amazing synergies in their skills and the build to bring out some insane potential. So you can't sleep on any class, and Wayfarer is no exception. This class, as even though it's technically, theoretically, not got the same ceiling as an Assassin might in pre-class change, it's still an insane class, and I really think it's a lot of fun. Now, when it comes to talents, let's go into talents next. So talents, you're going to have so let's start here. So in your talent tree, you have your Gust Arrow talent tree, which increases nature skill damage, very nice. And as you can see, as you go down, you're taking full left side. This is the best. Now, when you are in the base class, you're not going to have this additional section here. You're going to have only, I think, up to here invested, I believe, in the base class. This is obviously the full build when you're post-class change, where you get additional talents opened. So let's go through why you're going full left side so we understand why that is. So first off, you have Nature's Blessing, When casting Flow State for the first time at the start of battle, increase nature damage by 15% for 10 seconds. So this is a very nice skill, basically a very nice talent, because this basically gives you a 10-second damage boost for your nature damage, which again we've established every single attack is nature damage. This is a total 15% a damage boost to the start of battle, which is quite nice. A very nice opener to the fight. Next up, you have Strong Wind Arrow. 30 seconds after the start of the battle, increase skill damage by 8% until the end of battle. So very nice. So any fight that lasts longer than 30 seconds, you're going to have a fixed 8% damage increase to all skill damage. Basically all damage that comes from everything except for basic attacks. That's a very nice passive. Talent, sorry. We keep calling them passive, it's a talent. Next up, we have Wind Arrow Rain. For the duration of the arrow rain, increase the damage of Gust Arrow by 20%. Another amazing synergy here, and another reason why we're running Arrow Rain as one of our #1 tactical skills. So when you have Arrow Rain active, the damage of Gust Arrow increases by 20%, which is your core skill, so that's a very nice synergy. And that's basically it, and then this is the talent that won't unlock when you're in Wayfarer, but that unlocks when you're already class changed, so we won't worry about explaining that one. Then you have your second talent disc, which is Forging Foundation, which is the best in slot, which increases your attack frequency by 5%. I don't think I need to explain why that's best, because we've already established this class is built on making your character attack as fast as humanly possible. And everything here is all about synergizing with that insane attack speed, and there you have it as well. Slow and steady within 0.5 seconds, dealing basic attack damage, increase all damage by 4%. This is a really strong tree and by far the best in slot for Wayfarer, so you can't go wrong with that. So that's that for all the skills plus the talents. Now let's talk quickly about Melomon. So the best in slot Melomon is the same as all other DPS, and that is our good friend Demon Hound. Demon Hound is the absolute monster DPS pet, pure malice, the awakened skill. When triggering a crit hit or determination, increase damage by 72%, and when triggering both together, the damage bonus stacks. That's 144% damage increase, and the pet is only level 7, or sorry, only +4. Like, this can stack even more when you evolve the pet even more. This is gonna go crazy. So anyway, very powerful pet. We've talked about it numerous times in other videos, but I like mentioning it again so there's no ambiguity. This is the real deal. The special skills that you would run alongside your Demon Hound is Your Turn, which is the special skill of Demon Hound, which is a damage increase, and Echo, which is especially good for a ranged class like Wayfarer because it increases all damage, and to further the distance from the target, the stronger the effect, up to an additional 12.8%. So of all classes, ranged DPS benefit even more than melee DPS do from this Echo ability, because even on my Assassin I run Echo, but the benefit of a Wayfarer, Natasha actually gets more damage out of this skill than I do, because she's always standing all the way at back at the battle and I'm standing at the front. So anyway, that's that on skills, talents, and Melomon. And finally, let's just quickly go over a little bit about the stats you should be aiming for. Now, you do have a stat priority that you should be targeting, and that is, first off, accuracy. You want to get to around 100 to 105%. This is the best target to have in order to deal maximum damage. Sorry, not maximum damage, to have the maximum number of hits to bosses and the dragon. Next up, you want to take your crit and determination to as close to 35% as you can. That is the best balance to get as many lucky crits as you can, which are a significant increase to your damage. So that's another target you want to aim for. Then your second priority after this is established is attack as much as you can get, haste as much as you can get, and HP for survivability. And after that, you have your remaining defensive stats like evasion, defense, and endurance. Endurance, which becomes increasingly more important as you progress through harder content in the game. So that's basically it. And of course, crit damage. just as a side note. It does exist. It's not necessarily as high a priority compared to like haste and grit and determination, but it's there. And if you have additional room on your build to get it, that's what you should do. And just to briefly touch on moves, because I don't want to spend too much time on moves because we have a big video on Melomon and Melomon moves. But just to explain that you're basically using the Melomon moves through like to get as close to those stats as I just described. So rather than say, oh, here's the best in slot that you're going to put in every single slot, the best in slot for you is whatever is going to give you the priority of stats that I've just mentioned. So if it gives you the accuracy you need, great. If it gives you the crit you need, great. If it gives you the determination you need, great, etc. Haste, perfect. So you're basically using the moves here to generate the stats you need to get as close to those stat thresholds that I've just explained. So there you have it. That is Wayfarer, the pre-class change archer class in a nutshell. If you have any questions, if there's something that you disagree with, if there's something you want to have clarified, just write a comment down below and I will do my best. And anything I don't know, I'll ask my wife and see if she has any insights, since she's mained this class a lot more in depth than I have. And so yeah, that's it. That's the guide to Wayfarer. I hope you enjoyed, and don't worry, we are going to be having the class change guide video for the first class change of the Archer class coming very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about how to play this class to the max and enjoy blasting away tons of nature damage and acting like a literal machine gun with your bow. Crazy class, honestly. Crazy class. Anyway, if you liked the video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is going to be uploaded. And join our Discord if you haven't already. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll see you in the next video.